The day my husband Daniel was buried, the sky looked as empty as I felt inside. Gray clouds hung low above the cemetery, and the wind carried the quiet whispers of people who came to say goodbye. But the strangest part? My parents weren't there. Neither was my younger sister. I kept telling myself there had to be a reason. Maybe they were late. Maybe traffic. Maybe something unexpected happened. But as the priest finished the prayer and people slowly walked away, the truth began to sink in. They simply didn't come. Daniel had been more than a husband. He was the one person who truly believed in me. And now he was gone. I stood beside his grave long after everyone else had left. Finally, I whispered, "I don't know how I'm supposed to do this without you." But what I didn't know yet was that Daniel had already prepared something for me, something that would change everything. When I returned home that evening, the house felt too quiet. Daniel's jacket still hung by the door. His coffee mug sat on the kitchen counter. Every small thing reminded me that he wasn't coming back. I was walking toward the stairs when I heard voices from the living room, familiar voices. My parents and my sister. I froze. They hadn't been at the funeral, but they were here. Something felt wrong. So I quietly stepped closer. And that's when I heard my mother say something that made my heart stop. "She's emotionally unstable right now. It will be easy," my father replied calmly. "The psychiatrist appointment is tomorrow. If we get her declared mentally incompetent, we'll control everything." My sister laughed softly. $8 million and those apartments in the city. Honestly, she doesn't deserve it anyway. I felt the air leave my lungs. They weren't worried about me. They were planning to take everything. 2 weeks later, the lawyer confirmed something shocking. Daniel had left me everything. $8 million. 6 apartment buildings in Manhattan. And his investment company shares. The lawyer explained, "Your husband trusted you completely. Everything is legally yours." But the moment my family heard the news, their behavior changed. Suddenly, they were kind. Suddenly, they were supportive. My mother hugged me more. My father called every day. My sister started talking about family unity. But I already knew the truth. I had heard their plan, and I wasn't going to be their victim. One night, while cleaning Daniel's office, I found something strange. A small black USB drive hidden inside a book. Attached to it was a note in Daniel's handwriting. It said, "If anything happens to me, trust this." My hands trembled as I plugged it into my laptop. Inside were dozens of recordings, emails, documents, and even security footage. Daniel had been quietly collecting evidence. Evidence of my father stealing money from the church where he was treasurer. Evidence of my sister secretly taking loans in other people's names. Evidence of my mother manipulating people in town. Daniel had known they couldn't be trusted, and he had prepared proof. But the most shocking thing was the final file. A video message from him. In the video, Daniel looked serious, but calm. "Emma," he said softly, "if you're watching this, it means I'm gone." Tears filled my eyes immediately. "I know your family, and I know what they might try to do." He paused. "So I made sure you'd have protection." Daniel explained that he had arranged everything with a lawyer. If anyone tried to take control of my finances or declare me incompetent, the evidence would automatically be released. To the police, to the church board, and to several journalists. He finished the video with a small smile. "You are stronger than you think. Don't let them break you." I cried for a long time that night, but for the first time since his death, I felt something else. Strength. 3 days later, my mother invited me to dinner. She said it was a family healing moment. But when I arrived, a stranger was sitting in the living room. A psychiatrist. My father spoke calmly. "We're worried about you. You've been unstable since Daniel died." My sister added, "It's for your own good." That's when I realized They were starting their plan. Right now. But they didn't know something. I had already prepared my own plan. My phone was recording everything, and Daniel's lawyer had already been notified. So when the psychiatrist started asking questions about my mental state, I answered calmly, clearly. And then I asked my own question. Before we continue, I said, would you like to hear what my family said about this plan 2 weeks ago? I pressed play. The room filled with my mother's voice. She's emotionally unstable. It will be easy. My father turned pale. My sister's face froze. The psychiatrist slowly stood up. I believe this session is over. But that wasn't the end. 1 week later, the annual church gala took place. More than 120 people were there. Church leaders, community members, friends. And my father was standing proudly on stage, talking about honesty and integrity. That's when I walked forward and connected my laptop to the projector. The room went silent. Then the recordings began playing. My father's stolen funds, my sister's fraud, my mother's manipulations. Gasps filled the hall. My father tried to stop the video, but it was too late. Everyone had already seen the truth. Within days, everything collapsed for them. My father was removed from his position. Police started an investigation. My sister's fiancé left her, and my mother's reputation in town was destroyed. For the first time in my life, they couldn't control the story. 6 months later, my life looked completely different. I sold 2 of the apartment buildings, used the money to start a charity in Daniel's name, helping people who had been betrayed by their own families. Sometimes I still miss him so much it hurts, but I also remember what he told me. You're stronger than you think. And now I know he was right, because the moment I stopped waiting for my family to love me was the moment I finally started protecting myself and building a life they could never take away. Would you like me to create